Hi, everybody. I am going to be presenting the first award today, and this is for individual stewardship. And our award winner for this year is Julie Lloyd from Waldron Island. Julie exemplifies grassroots commitment to environmental stewardship based in home and community. Julie, along with her husband David, is passionate about their sense of place. She has been influential in fostering scientific knowledge in the Waldron community through projects that range from surveying beach birds to winter seabirds to zooplankton population studies. And she has helped create a citizen science program that is being looked at as a model in other areas. Julie's added depth and perspective to the scientific knowledge by interviewing elders and creating an archive of local nature observations. When you're surrounded by water, it's easy to slip into being island-centric. By reaching out while keeping a strong, sustaining sense of place intact, Julie breaks through this isolationism by fostering partnerships that connect us into one island community. Thank you, Julie, for your commitment and vision, and we're happy to present you with today's Good Steward Award for Individual Stewardship.
Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to talk just for a few moments. I have some reminiscences and a list and a formula. Okay, so a few years ago I talked to some of our elders, and here's a couple of things they said. This comes from Bob, who's 89 years old. Okay, this is from Bob, who's 89. He says, I'd row out to the commercial herring boat, and the gulls would be around this boat. Oh, just 1,000 gulls diving around there. It was an exciting time. I'd row out there, and they'd say, you want some herring? And I'd say, I just happen to have this wash tub with me here on my rowboat. They'd give me a bucket full of herring. They had herring just spilling out all over the boat. Of course, they fished it out. That was 1963 that they took the last of them. I remember looking over the side of the boat, and if the herring were up near the surface, it was just a big flashing silver mirror down there, just continuous, just everywhere. They were just right next to each other. And one day I was out in the bay, and all of a sudden I was surrounded by these fish, these black fish, what you call orcas now. I was really frightened. I tell you, I just sat there. They were just cavorting around, all around my rowboat. These monsters, you know, they'd come up and they'd blow their breath out. And then this is from Chuck, and today is his 90th birthday. When we first came here, Point Disney was a seagull rookery. They actually laid their eggs there. You could see the little baby seagulls when they hatched, but that didn't last too long. The cormorants used to nest at Disney too. When they would nest, they'd just build this year's nest on top of the old nest. There'd be places where there was a little ledge, and there'd be 6 or 8 nests on top of each other right on the edge of the cliffs. I remember those nests. They were really dramatic. Some of them were 6 feet high. And then this is from Elaine and Bill. Bill says, you know, Julie, when I was a kid, there were an awful lot more creatures out there. Not just salmon, but cod looking at your toes and skates. You look down now. Elaine says, I remember a lot more snappers. The red color was very noticeable. Oh, in the 50s and 60s, the color was so very glamorous and was so easy to see, and there was cod all over it, West Beach. Bob said, didn't there used to be more of those little birds that have red feet? Elaine said, oh, the puffins, tufted puffins. Absolutely, they were gorgeous. Not gorgeous, they were stunning. They were charming. They had the most wonderful way of moving across the water, not on it and not in it. They could literally skim. They were wonderfully colored, and they had remarkably noticeable beaks. They were handsome little creatures. There were a lot of them. They were abundant in the 50s and 60s. Then I think the changes there came pretty early. There were fewer, and then I think you could see a few, and maybe in the early 80s, they were gone. Okay, so now here's the list. It's of the projects people on my tiny little island have been involved in since these interviews. A year-round baseline plankton survey, the Coast Beach Bird Survey, the Audubon Society Seabird Survey, the Sea Mammal Stranding Network, salmon prey studies, rough shorefish inventories, water quality survey of our wells and freshwater seeps, cob oven at the school, and a cob stove for a greenhouse, permaculture hedges, nut tree planting, food dryer designs, a stewardship shelf in the library, workshops on grain growing, apple orcharding, and soil quality, and our community meeting has just agreed to study zero trash production on our island. So people want to be active stewards, and they're finding ways to do it. Okay, so here's the formula. For us, things began to coalesce when we got a small community grant and asked Dr. Russell Barsh of Kwiat to help mentor us. Once we had a bit of money and Russell's support, then people felt empowered to act as a community. And as far as I can tell, the momentum is still building. So that's that.